Okay, everyone, we're going to do this. Grab your remotes, get that trigger thumb on the play button. We are going to hit it at the same time on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, there's Mitchum.
Oh, it is Mitchum's house. Like, of course, Mitchum would have all these people just like walking in there. What is this?
I told you, it's Mia's house.
Let's say Mitchum lives in Stars Hollow. That's the twist.
This is one of my favorite town episodes.
Oh, definitely.
Looking at that many people standing in a line after COVID just freaks you out, doesn't it?
Yes.
Why are they breathing on each other?
Why are they standing so close together? Social distance.
Not as much as Suki licking the spoon and putting it back in the pot, though. That's the top for me.
Oh, Kirk.
Hey, Kirk's got another job. This time he's got your balls.
Can you see the fake baby in Suki's thing?
No, that's a very real, very quiet baby.
I can honestly say that I've never looked into the stroller to pay attention before.
Whatever's
in that stroller,
that one was
is
especially.
Scary.
They were water babies basically, so they're made of not water babies, but like they had weight to them.
I always thought they were
expensive.
called water babies. That's how I always referred to them.
I think that's what it is. But they have weight to them, so when you hold them, but they're creepy and they're cold. Like they're made of like this weird prosthetic. Basically, it's the same thing.
Were they like Renesmee Cullen babies, or?
They are, just
know.
so you know, water babies are expensive. Those things are like $10,000.
Well, they rent them,
baby.
But yeah, they're super expensive.
They're really,
and some of them are actually real puppets. Like I worked on Criminal Minds, and they had a baby that was born. Like they had a birthing one, and it was a puppet.
Oh
my gosh, was it
Dean
really?
is back.
Did you
Dean
just spot the guest star?
Ugh,
Dean is back.
John, I don't need that.
I used to kind of get a little, not annoyed, but like a little like, come on, you Dean haters. And I'm not there anymore. I kind of get it.
One of us.
Well, I don't know if I'll say one of you. I don't know if I'll say one of you, but I definitely don't find it annoying.
It's probably me. It's fine.
John, are you like officially on a team yet, or are you still just kind of like being very?
He's on Team Marty now.
I'm kind of on Team Marty. I am kind of on Team Marty. It's no joke. That's actually really kind of true.
Marty is very underrated.
Team Robert.
This is unrelated to the plot, but I do find it very interesting that they scrapped the whole idea they built with Rory's first year in college, that the dorms were tiny and they had to share because Paris and Rory were going to get a storyline with sexual partners.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This episode is directed by Jackson.
That's right.
Oh,
is this his first episode? Is this the first episode that he's directed?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he's a
I
director.
don't remember.
Now.
I just remember he observed the episode with the barbershop quartet when Fred Savage was on set.
Hey, she's back.
Yeah. I had a Snoopy record player. No, I had a Mickey Mouse record player.
I was gonna ask if you had input into that line.
I think I had a Sesame Street one.
Brian definitely had a Snoopy one, but John Cabrera had a Mickey Mouse one.
It's much cooler.
Hey, is this the first time she's been on the episode, or we've seen her already?
No, I think we already saw her before.
Wait, Carol King?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've seen her.
No, she had a big little introduction already.
We've already seen her. Okay, got it.
And it's so sad how many times I've watched this. Only the rewatch before I joined Remarkist that I realized that was actually Carol King.
Yeah, it took me a few rewatches to realize that too.
I like saw one of those like tribute shows and she was in the audience like, oh my gosh, it's Carol King.
Yeah,
Carol King. The first time.
Carol King was probably next to meeting Geddy Lee was the second most exciting thing that happened to me on set. Geddy Lee, though, I think was number one for me.
Research is officially Luke's love language.
Do you know why they probably put the newspaper on that window? It had probably more to do with the fact that they didn't want to have background in that in that thing, that it was really difficult to shoot that set when they added the window.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, this is great.
I like that we see Zach and Luke being all supportive right at the start.
Such odd behavior from Luke.
And Zach.
Can you see the beads of sweat on everyone?
Well, there were a lot of lights in this scene.
Oh, well, and it was also covered with a big thing of Dubatine over the roof, so it was like the heat from the sun would hit it and it would just heat up.
Oh, this was shot during the day.
It was shot throughout the entire day, and then by the end of the day, they would take the Dubatine off and shoot like an exterior if they had one.
So do we think Kirk has an anxiety disorder?
Absolutely.
Just the
Nah,
extreme.
not at all.
No, he's very calm.
He's very well adjusted.
That's so weird. There's like a car pulling into Suki's house driveway. Did you see that? It's not Suki.
The real father of her baby.
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh, Kyle.
He came to lend a hand.
So John,
I
why
mean,
do you?
that is funny. That is very
Excellent
funny.
writing.
So John, why do you think that Luke is there?
Um, hmm. Is that a trick question? I mean, feels like he's just
Well,
there.
it's just very un-Luke like to volunteer for the town.
Yeah, then maybe I'd say to get under to get under Taylor's skin, maybe.
What is that guy's name again? I can't remember his name with the brand.
Kyle?
Yes, oh my gosh.
The way Luke is holding the hook.
I personally love group t-shirts, so like this would be my dream.
As Zach would say, snitches get stitches.
I love how into that Gypsy was.
Originally, when we shot this, everyone was wearing coats, and they were like, "Oh, how are they supposed to put their shirts on?" So they like made everyone take their coats off because it was supposed to be
Uh,
hot. It was like a big ordeal. And then also the hook hand, you know
he
how like
wants the house. Oh no.
Everyone's getting different versions of his motives.
Yeah.
Scott has a big old piece of lint on the back of his head.
I would punch Taylor in the chest. Dude, let me go.
I love that Taylor had t-shirts made, but he had one made just for himself that says something different and is a different color than everyone else's. And you know how expensive it would be to have just one t-shirt made? Insane.
Making one T-shirt is expensive.
I
That
mean,
does feel
it's
very
certainly
on
more.
brand, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's certainly more expensive than making 20 of the same t-shirt.
It's so very Taylor, though.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Rory yet at this point.
Oh, that's true.
Did we have a phone call with her, or did I completely imagine that?
Yeah, we saw her with Paris. Yeah,
Oh.
she called her to tell her that old man Twickham died.
Oh, thanks. I missed that. I walked out for a second.
And she was calling Paris pathetic because she was sitting around waiting for Doyle, I believe.
She was imitating the old Maxwell tape. Yeah, the tape commercial.
Like the accessories. The accessory. I like that little necklace.
She just said her mother was worse than Mussolini and Stalin.
Yeah. I mean, hyperbole. It doesn't. At this point, it just sort of flies through me.
I love the undiluted glee on her face when she gets the chance to tell a story about how horrible Emily is.
To the press.
I mean, it just barely registers for me anymore. It's so it happens all the time.
Scott's facial expressions in this scene are just perfect. Once again, Kirk being a fourth grader.
Is it possible that Luke is looking for something that is there?
Who knows?
All things are possible.
He said
Maybe
Twickham
he's
was like
looking
a
for
second father. Maybe he's looking for
Taylor has a trait.
record.
he's looking for a place to hide Brian's body after Mia decapitates him.
Oh, that could be.
These are the seeds being planted for that plot.
Such a great episode
Tyrant.
for Michael.
Hey,
Ooh, the guy.
everyone's
Oh.
favorite person.
Of course, he couldn't, become anything else. Ugh.
Tell us how you feel, Lily, about Dean.
I don't miss him. I'm sorry.
That was a very cute what in the background, by the way.
This is the second time we heard Sam in this episode.
I love how Paris is just always thinking about the bigger picture, like her legacy, always.
Man, they really are just saving some money on not putting Brian in the episode.
Brian does not live here anymore.
Just wasn't in the budget. They needed Kyle.
They haven't found his body yet.
Yeah, you're in the
Brian's
trunk.
body.
Sorry. Sorry, he got Brian
That
in the trunk.
lined up too perfectly. That was so great, guys.
Everyone just got mad at the exact same second.
That was awesome.
I want to know how she got there first when Rory left while Paris was on her way to go pack a bag.
She
Paris
went to
is a very
Hartford first.
crazy
Very true.
driver.
Very true.
Paris is a maniac on the road.
That is also a good explanation.
Yes, that too.
I didn't know the Independence Inn was at Lorelei's house now.
Kirk's afraid of goldfish.
I love how they all have to arrange childcare for Kirk.
What's weird is Kirk came from upstairs, and if he was sleeping in Rory's bedroom is downstairs. That's just weird.
Bathroom is upstairs. Yeah, the shower's upstairs.
Oh, the shower. Okay.
And I think Lorelai has turned her house into the Stars Hollow hostel.
I always think about the fact that in season 1, the closet by the front door was used as a bathroom. And I just can never shake that image that now it's a closet. So I think of every time they went to the bathroom, what were they doing?
Consistency didn't exist on this show.
It's okay. It lends to the imagination.
It's part of why we talked about that yesterday, about the continuity and consistency.
The swing set behind Luke's. I like that. I like that detail that it always moves.
Well, we were talking about the whole Luke Christopher fight, that Luke was saying, well, where were you when this happened? Where were you when this happened? Well, according to Lorelai, they only met 8 years ago. Luke wasn't there for all those things.
My favorite inconsistency is when Jess first shows up and Luke says his dad left 2 years ago, but when Jess's dad shows up, they haven't ever seen each other since he was a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Has anyone tried figuring out what those 2 dirty words that rhyme with Emily are?
I was just trying to run a list of dirty words in my head to try to figure it out.
I was thinking the same thing.
Whoever figures it out first gets a prize.
I have a feeling it's a MacGuffin.
I think you're right, John. I don't think that it exists. I think it was just there to make you think.
That's like the town. What was the town?
Loner.
The town loner, when he was writing that thing. We don't know what it was. It didn't exist.
Stop the noodle scoos.
He was brave to say it.
I can't think of anything that rhymes with Emily, never mind a dirty word.
And fun fact, the Twickham house is actually Babette's house.
The internal?
Well, that's Lorelai's backyard right there with the stairs. The stairs led to the back of, that edge. Oh, now it's disappeared, but that's all connected, and that was all of the interior of what's her face's house, of Babette's house.
Yeah, I feel like I've read that before. Interesting.
I had no idea. That's amazing.
So, like, the area that you see right there behind the door, that would have been the kitchen area, I believe, in Babette's house.
That cannonball is definitely made of styrofoam.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but their stellar acting makes it look really heavy.
Yeah.
The fact that they're like trying to out masculine each other while carrying a cannonball is just hilarious.
I guess in my mind it never really.
Was that real rain? Was that real rain?
No, there's no way.
Because
you
it
wouldn't
looked like
see
it was raining pretty far.
Yeah, you can't see real rain like that. And they would have to have, in order to see rain on camera, they have to have towers. So it would have been, which is weird, like why they even would shoot a rain scene where
seemed like
no other rain.
because that rain was so different than your typical looking movie rain. It was like drizzling, and you could see it really far in the back.
I don't understand why the rain's there, but that definitely you would have to have a tower in order to see rain.
That's sort
You'd
of
have
why I'm
to.
wondering, is it possible that it was raining that day and they were like, let's just put them in raincoats and let's just
No,
do
you
it?
wouldn't. You wouldn't see the rain if it was raining. What I'm trying to say is like
Oh,
unless
right. Well, I didn't
unless
see
it was.
I didn't see the rain in the sky. I just saw the little trickles in the water.
Maybe they
Yeah,
were trying to.
that's special effects. That's special effects hitting the things with a rain tower.
Maybe they were
But
trying to
Also,
the
it
emotional
seems
moment, the stormy weather with what Lane was witnessing.
it just seems so
Ooh, that's good. I
disconnected.
like that.
also so far we've had like 2 episodes where Kirk is sleeping and no screaming assassins dreams. So
He did walk out of the house, I believe, last episode though, with a towel wrapped around his waist, and they both look at each other and go, "Is the front door locked?"
Ooh, Paris has pit stains. It was hot in that set, or that sweater was hot.
What a thing to say to
Oh, I
someone.
forgot about this scene. I love this scene.
Today would have been a good day for Founders Day punch, though.
It sure would.
Always beware of the punch.
Remember, Lorelai told Luke you could get drunk just standing next to the punch bowl.
I love this beautiful representation of depression in a friend group.
Did I miss something? Have we figured out what the deal is with Luke being?
nope.
No,
Not
okay.
yet.
Nope.
We don't
Okay.
know yet.
It's got to be something having to do with some relic here, something.
Sears, man.
I like that. That's a cool
That's
little
such a
exhibit.
great plot.
I have
Oh, I
definitely
love
been
that.
in museums that are
This
in
is the best part.
shambles like
Let's
this.
just enjoy it.
I think
Interactive
this might count
museum.
as a Stars Hollow production, John.
I was actually wondering if anyone had tallied that since yesterday.
Drunk acting.
I personally enjoy the lie ramble. It's some of the better drunk acting I've seen.
Paris gets like even more tense when she's drunk.
They have the empty cups in front of them.
As well as lovers if we ever get married. What an excellent line. If Rory truly knew Paris, she knew that would not be a burden to her at all.
I love Paris here.
I know that this is a reference to some other work of fiction, but I cannot remember what it is.
I was just trying to look that up too. I don't remember what it is either.
Okay, we just need to hear this.
So that's the first moment where we discover that Taylor is ultra conservative Christian.
I'd say that's
Yeah.
probably the
mean,
most
Yeah, never thought
obvious,
about it.
the most obvious way he goes about it. Yeah.
Yes, besides the Indian state.
Pay attention to this for future things, John.
So funny.
I mean, I saw that joke coming because they already said that he couldn't speak, but it was just as funny when it happened as what I imagined it would be.
Is anyone else reciting the words of the mannequins?
Yup.
I was actually just thinking about that when she walked in. I was like, oh, her breath must absolutely reek of alcohol. What is this?
It looks like Zach's cheating on you, John, with a different band.
Yeah, he's got other friends.
I had no idea. This makes me feel very, very, very weird.
They didn't even pay you to be here for this heartbreak.
I mean, that's definitely something that they must have written in for Todd, knowing that Todd was, kind of Todd's got a country thing going on, and they probably knew that about him and knew that he liked that he played country music, and I could see them writing that in for that reason.
Is that a tattoo on Liza's ankle?
I'm still trying to figure out
All
what
of
this
the
is a reference
raspberries she
to. Does
blew.
anyone remember?
That is a lot of punch.
This is definitely Hawaiian Punch or something.
Did anyone remember what? Sorry, I missed the question.
That scene that Paris just did in the street screaming and like kicking the air after people, it's a reference to something. I just can't remember what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Everyone ready to sing?
Urinal cakes.
I love Suki's delight with all of this.
Okay, but that kind of looks like Gil, though.
I love how they're freaks. They must be freaks.
When Andrew was selling lava lamps, Taylor called it drug paraphernalia in a previous episode.
Is that supposed to be a caveman from like the era of Stars Hollow, of the caveman era of Stars Hollow?
I think so.
Ooh.
You mean Mussolini?
It has a lot of parallel to that article that Rory wrote. Like it's reminding me of all that.
Oh, absolutely. How they say things and don't really think of the impact on others. They both kind of have that. And I love Jesus.
So
That
creepy.
Family Foundation.
So good.
Iconic.
The edits are really clever in this episode too.
Definitely well cut.
Did somebody just mention the Family Foundation?
Yeah, I'm sure they're loving that.
I was gonna say, I was like, man, this and last season really, Family Foundation must be really happy.
Hey, just a shooting thing. When we shot the diorama parts, if the actors weren't in that shot, they probably did not see any of those dioramas because they probably shot them as a shot without actors. So I don't even think I was there for a lot of those.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it is for a lot of stuff. I knew it. I
You called it, John.
I freaking predicted that. That was actually
Yeah,
like
you
not
nailed
even
that
really
one.
a totally serious prediction. What?
When you said it, I thought, wait, did he say that already in the episode? No, don't spoil it.
Oh, that actually happened because of the cannon. I thought that they actually did it like that.
I like how he says, "Oh, just a cannonball," as if a cannonball isn't particularly heavy.
Right.
Well, they didn't like throw it on the ground. They set it on the ground and it dropped.
Yeah, I just thought that they actually did that on purpose because that would be a cool little exhibit in the museum.
Oh no, that was the whole joke, that they went to take it inside and it broke the floor.
I always pictured it was dropped because of Dean and Luke like trying to be more masculine over the cannonball. This is a very big moment for Lorelai to do that with no real. She's not going to be rewarded for it. She just does it.
It's a little surprising to me too, considering the last episode, how she was interacting with her mother.
That beautiful alcohol smell. Oh, this moment.
Oh,
Kick him in the knees.
What's gonna happen here?
Bop It is still one of the best reasons best ways to break tension.
Dean is very similarly dressed as Luke.
I assume that was very much on purpose for this.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he really looks like Luke. He's totally different. He always wore plaid. I mean, he always wore different things, and it's just layers because of the time.
But it's a green jacket, denim, the plaid, the t-shirt underneath.
That's a brown jacket, and if you were gonna dress like Luke, he'd be wearing a baseball hat backwards. That would be more the signal.
That was
That
a
drives
pretty.
me nuts.
That
like,
was a pretty important scene.
Dean is so bitter.
This is also
he's just
very
bitter
important.
and insecure, and it's annoying.
All right, so the is this downstairs or upstairs bathroom?
They're
This
in the
was shot
closet right now.
upstairs. No, this was shot upstairs in the real house, in the back lot, upstairs bathroom. And I don't think we ever shot in here ever again.
Dang, that was a pretty intense ending.
That
Wow.
ending is always gives me chills.
We're going on to the next episode, right?
That was no, we're not going on to the next episode, but that was that moment reminded me a lot of the Dean moment when he's sleeping drunk and says, "Why doesn't she love me?"
Oh yes, I never
Right?
I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, John.
Together.
That's Colonel worthy, right?
100%.
All right, we're
Colonel's
gonna
coming
open
your
up the couch. We're gonna open up the couch and get some other fine folks up here to chat about this very cool episode. I'm really into this. All right, couch is open, everyone. Come on up. Come on up. Join us for a little fun chitter chat.
The way that Rory
absolutely
says
love
mom.
that Paris kept doing.
That was the best. I love that
That
moment
was
with Paris.
I love how she kept trying
What a
to kick
lovely bit.
people as they walked by.
Okay, but can we just say, and I love Jesus.
And I love Jesus.
Yes. That was hilarious. Oh.
So
For the
John,
longest time, I always thought that it said I love Cheez-Its. I don't know
I love
why.
Cheez-Its.
I
What?
love Cheez-Its.
This
Emma, this is why we put on subtitles when we watch Gilmore Girls. This is why you got to put on subtitles.
This episode seemed particularly heavy on the snarky Christian jokes.
Yeah, 100%.
Very much so.
Because it's so tied to Taylor, I think they took that opportunity and ran with it.
I see. I never really felt like I had a sense of how religious Taylor was. He just always struck me as like a neurotic guy who likes control.
Taylor is a conservative.
I
The
don't think
episode
it
where
was
we.
ever-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's never really up until now like presented as like Christianity, but more he's a traditionalist. He doesn't like new things. He doesn't like change. He likes old-fashioned, old-timey things, and like that's just kind of the way it is for him.
Right. That's true. That's true.
No, in the
Certainly
episode,
the traditionalist.
So like conservatism.
In the episode where we met the rabbi and the priest with him, he was saying how he goes to church and he always puts his dollar in every week. So he definitely is religious.
Oh, okay, got it. I missed that, but that's a good that's good. That makes a little bit more sense.
There's
But
also
is it in town in Connecticut? Is it like based on religious people in the past? Because I imagine it was just how a small town in Connecticut would be with a lot of religious people in the past.
They were talking about it being founded by like Puritans or something as well. So
Yeah,
it
well,
could
I
be
mean
why.
that whole East Coast is, like it. I mean, yeah, I mean the Puritans were, early settlers in the United States in that area.
Colonizer.
Yeah, colonizers.
Period.
Yeah, so that's sort of what that references to is to Puritans. I was just saying that, like, I just thought that there was like a lot of the episodes are very heavy on the snarky Christian jokes, which is, not I haven't really seen a lot of that
Not cool.
in the series.
What's that?
So where should we start? Okay, so first of
I
all,
would love to
I know
talk
where I want to quickly start and just say prediction, nailed it.
Amazing
You
job
rock.
on your
With
part.
Tom.
Nailed it. But I will say that prediction was not like Amanda, you just asked me, and I just, like, at first I was like, I didn't really think much of it, and then I was like, oh yeah, you're right, that is weird that he's here, and then I just threw out just the first random thought that I had in my head, but it wasn't really like, I didn't really put a lot of actual brain power to it. So
I could tell that's what you did. So when you got it right, I was like, whoa.
John, did you hear Luke say that he wants a family? Because I know you questioned that before.
Yeah,
He wants to reproduce.
Yes, Carl.
Imagine a bunch of Luke.
Yeah, I mean, he wants that house. He wants that house, like, because he sees it as a sort of upgrade from his apartment if he were to grow into a bigger life with Lorelai, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's really cool. I got that at the end of the episode, and that's really cool, and it's a really interesting. It's an interesting juxtaposition with the scene between him and Dean, where Dean is like, "You're always going to be this," and they want more than this, and you will only be this, which is, I mean, knowing at that point why Luke wants the house, it's sort of heartbreaking, because in that moment you can tell that Luke is wondering, like, oh my gosh, like, does she want that, like, big house, family, all of that stuff, like, with me.
The first time I watched it, I was so annoyed about Dean saying this, like, how can you? It's not true. But the more I watch it, the more I think it's so true, Dean. It's not just because you're frustrated. It's true. It's a true statement. Lorelai would be completely different not being with Luke. And I thought, oh yes, that's the hard truth. And I think it's just a great scene. I love it so much now.
I have to say though, I think like Lorelai was very much settling down in her own way. She always intended to stay in Stars Hollow. Like before getting together with Luke, she was opening her own inn. So I don't think he's very incompatible with her life in that way. I think it was just Dean projecting his own bitterness from his failed relationship.
I agree with you.
100%.
Yeah, I agree there too. That kind of brings me back to something that Sean said yesterday, which was, there's a big difference between the characters simply because of where they are in their life. That as similar as Lorelai and Rory might be, Rory is still not baked, so to speak. She's still finding herself, and that that will come with her wanting more than, quote unquote, this. But that's not where Lorelai is. Lorelai, I think, does want this. She does want sort of, you know, settling down and finding the one that she loves and growing old together.
Well, but I always saw it as Lorelai left her home to come to Stars Hollow. Like Stars Hollow is her adventure, whereas Rory grew up in Stars Hollow, so somewhere else needs to be her adventure.
Totally. Yeah, but also you could also say that like that Lorelai has had plenty of adventure. The idea that she would sort of find some sense of settlement, that also makes sense to me as well.
Agree.
Like, you know, that she hasn't had a place that is like, you know, a sort of settled home since she left home. She's come to Stars Hollow, and Stars Hollow has been this crazy adventure. And so the idea that she might settle down with a Luke in a big house, and, you know, that there's something about that is like, you know, contrasting the last 20 years of her life.
Jessica is flashing.
I am, but it's going to be a different subject. Are we ready to move?
Yeah, sure.
So I've always had a hard time with this episode because we watched three, what I see as very strong women, Lane, Paris, and Rory, all falling apart over men in this episode.
Yeah.
And
it's a rarity.
They all have their own situations where they're all in, you know, different situations with their guys, and seeing the way the episode ends with Rory crying over a guy, you know, like we've seen it happen before, but the way that she cries about Logan, and the way that Lane gets jealous about Zach, and the way that Paris starts, you know, to people on the street trying to get to be able to call Doyle, like it's so sad to see all three of these women fall apart over men at the same time.
Lorelai is not in that mix though, right?
No, Paris, Rory, and Lane all at the same time.
So all of the young women. I mean, I think that
But
I think that
Lorelai
probably
is struggling also, because she's struggling with does she wind up letting this article go through, which could completely blow up her business, or does she pull it away because she doesn't really want to hurt her mother because she realized she overstepped.
Yeah, definitely. But I just think to Jessica's point, the conflict being the men that the women want is very specific to the young women, I think, on this particular episode, which I think probably also speaks to this idea that they are still trying to find themselves, and that they aren't where like a Lorelai would be, you know, in that regard.
Yes.
I also think that it's fairly accurate, honestly. Like, that's what people in college do. Even guys a lot of times will fall apart over a girl. I mean, we see Dean kind of doing that, but just falling apart in a different way, like taking his anger out on Luke over his breakup with Rory. But I think that it's pretty accurate. Young women, like, occasionally falling apart because some guy comes in and they have trouble, you know, keeping it together when things don't work out. I think it's pretty accurate.
Hey, Emma, your mic is on.
In general. What's up?
Emma's mic is
Sorry,
there we go.
I had no idea. Sorry.
There we go.
Young love in general. You know, I mean, young love is just messy, and you know, I would say it's, yeah. I mean, to your point, Mandy, it's not just young women. It's young men in different ways. You're right, but also sometimes in the same way. Like I said, Dean did drunkenly, you know, say, "Why don't you love me?" You know, I mean, it's not that different than what Rory was saying in the scene. You know, it's just heartbreak when young people are falling in love for the first time, and their hearts are breaking for the first time. They've never felt that before. It's just a messy thing. They do and they say stupid things, you know, as they're trying to figure this whole thing out for themselves.
You know, I think the fascinating thing about the three girls being drunk was that like it was really cool to see how Paris handled it. I mean, it was cool and funny because she was upset and, you know, pretty much berating the people on the sidewalks that give 50 cents. And then for Lane, she kind of, took matters into her own hands and went to the person that she thought was cheating, that Zach was cheating on her with, and confronted her immediately, like what Mrs. Kim would do, you know, like we've seen before. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's like, it's very entertaining for this episode.
And also, it was interesting that, like, you know, again, sort of speaking to Jessica's point, you know, it was interesting that a lot of that sort of, you know, the control that these men had over the women, you know, in regards to this sort of love and need for love, that that early in the episode it was sort of brimming, you know, it was like it was they were trying their best to sort of hold it at bay, you know, and that the writers then were like, let's just get these girls drunk and just like let you see what it looks like once they're drunk.
Yeah, it is kind of obvious that Daniel wrote this episode when that happened.
John, I can't stay too long. If anybody has any questions for me, I know there's some costume stuff in the episode. As far as the set dressing pieces that were dressed, I don't remember if we had a hand in helping pick out those outfits. I can imagine Brenda being asked, like, hey, can you help us get some of these outfits? But on the day, like, set dressing was totally in charge of those things. I don't know too much though, sadly.
Did you have a hand in any of the outfits that they put on, like the cavemen and stuff, inside of the Twickham House Museum?
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
That's what he was talking about. Yeah.
I think that there is possibility that Brenda might have helped with acquiring some of those items. Like maybe Lonnie or one of the shoppers went down in the costume department, pulled some stuff for them. It is possible they pulled it themselves, or they could have even asked the costume department to pull together a caveman outfit. It's really highly likely we probably did help. On the day itself, thank God we didn't actually, I don't think we had to dress them. I'm usually like, a lot of times whenever they have a dummy on set, a body, you know, like a fake person on set, and we will actually help props or set dressing or whoever get those clothing dressed sometimes. It's happened. It's not my favorite part, so I usually remember it. I don't remember putting the clothes on the dummy, but maybe Brenda did. Maybe Brenda did adjust some of those things. The main thing that I remember about this episode, which I said in the middle, was they all had those matching t-shirts, and there was like this huge discussion about like, oh, well, they can't wear coats in the house if they've got this t-shirt on. We're never going to see the t-shirt. And so they needed to have layers. And I remember Taylor, I don't know if you noticed, he's wearing like a shirt, then his sweater, and then the t-shirt on top of all of that. He was dying and boiling because he couldn't take off his sweater in the middle of a take, you know, like if
Oh
he
my
got
goodness.
hot. So I remember that being like kind of an issue. I remember that day going really long, and when they did shoot the doc and the actual, like in the Twickham house, was just forever and ever and ever to rehearse this scene. And there were so many parts and pieces to it that it was not a fun set to shoot in, because, you know, any new set will take a lot of effort and energy because they don't know how they're going to light it. They don't have lights in place. That was a practical location. They were shooting inside that set that was on the back lot. And so anytime you have something like that, it's just so much more effort. The elements are an issue. And as far as speaking of elements, the whole thing with the rain is so weird because it doesn't match up to anything else that's in the episode. Like, there's no rain scenes before or after. I mean, there is a possibility, like you said, but if they did,
I mean, it just looked like, I mean, because I'm pretty like when it comes to like film rain, I instantly recognize it. It's so clear. I look immediately to the background. Like I look as far off in the distance as I can. I can always
Yeah.
see that it's not raining or that there's
Yeah.
like that it's dry there. And that looked different. And not only that, it was like there wasn't much rain. Obviously you couldn't really see rain in the camera itself. The only way you knew it was raining
Yeah.
is that you could see like little droplets. And then I looked really deep in the background. I was like, wait a second, there's droplets hitting all the way in the background. That is some real detail. And then I was just thinking, is it freaking possible that they just couldn't stop the rain and they were like, you know what, put her in a raincoat
You know
and
what? It probably is because it doesn't match up to anything. And the weird thing, you know what? And the weird thing too, like the raincoat that she was wearing was very un-Lane like. It wasn't something that we would have had probably something a little bit more quirky, a little bit
yeah.
more fun.
Yeah, it really was.
The
And the
hat.
whole rest of the episode was like super sunny. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just
Yeah,
an
I mean,
odd moment that I really think there was something else going on there. I mean,
yeah,
certainly we can
we'd have to ask Keiko. Maybe she remembers.
Yeah.
It does feel very like, because I think that if we had planned a rain scene, one, you'd probably have more people in the background walking around in the rain.
Yeah.
And the few times where we've had umbrellas on set, there's a couple times we had umbrellas on set where the background or people were holding umbrellas, and it was very difficult to actually see that it was raining because it was really raining in real life, and it was just a fine mist that was happening. And
Yeah,
I wonder if
I'm
it's
telling you, I
because,
really just don't. I just don't think the main thing is that for a scene that small,
yeah,
the fact that they would actually have towers that far in the distance just for
especially for
something
that
that's
scene, and it's
for
just a
that scene,
really,
it just doesn't
yeah,
track. I'm
no,
just gonna
yeah,
say it. I think that was actually
that's
a
probably
rainy day.
real.
I am
I
very
think so.
offended that you're outruling my emotional rain theory.
Well, no, I think that
Oh, I
I think
doubt
that
that.
now. No, I think that now that happened, then of course the idea that it's emotional rain has to become canon. Like that's because we can't accept that I mean, this is real, right? Like Stars
Yes,
Hollow
100%.
is a real place, and this really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see her like struggling pulling all these cleaning supplies on her own because Zach bailed on her. I thought it was just similarly like to show how much she's like struggling in that moment. I mean, there could have been more to the scene that was cut, right? If it was intentional, because it is super short for all that effort.
No, I don't think anything was cut. What I'm trying to say is,
Okay.
why would they only have one scene where you even see the rain? You don't see it in any of the other shots throughout the
Yeah,
episode.
and the whole episode
You have
sunny.
rain. If you have rain on a scene, it's going to be very specific. They're going to mention that there's rain, and you're also going to carry it throughout the rest of the episode. Like, we immediately cut to Lorelai's house, and there's no rain. It looks sunny. It looks normal. It doesn't look like
I'm
anything
also trying to
happened.
imagine the director trying to sell that. So I really want it to be raining, because I
Yeah,
want them to I just see them. I just see. I see the line producer just being like,
oh
not
shit,
a,
we have to shoot,
yeah,
we
not a
gotta shoot, we
chance
gotta
under the
shoot.
sun. Are we going to give you that for that? No, unfortunately, we do not have
And
the
and
money for that.
it's possible that was like the last scene of the episode, and they had the director for 5 more minutes. They couldn't, and it cost them a lot of money to bring a director back another day. You want to detract from whatever the new director's
Yeah.
doing. It's super expensive. And also, like, the scene included Sophie, which meant she was only there for that one day, and very rarely was she there. They probably flew her out from New York or wherever she lived at the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think she was living in New York at the time. I think she was living somewhere I want to say somewhere like Colorado or something like that.
oh yeah, yeah. So, like, it's all these elements are expensive, and you either have to figure out that you're going to sell it. I'm surprised more that we actually put her in a raincoat and didn't just have her walk. But I think it would have been more obvious that it was wet outside. I don't know. But the raincoat itself was so plain and normal. Like, it just didn't look like a Lane. Lane would have something a little bit more quirky and fun if we had planned for a rain scene. So
To me, the
yeah,
hat and the jacket together kind of made her look frumpy.
it could very well have been. I feel like that jacket was a jacket that we had for when it rained, for people, for background, for our cast. I don't think that rain hat, that might have even been something Keiko had, in her own personal life. And pulled in an emergency any one of those items, but just like, okay, we're going to shoot it. We got to do it. And that's what happened there. But then let's talk about Paris, and Paris was barefoot. I know someone mentioned a tattoo. I didn't see what you were saying.
Did she have a tattoo? I like the
I
moment
have
that
no
you
idea.
mentioned that, I was like, where's that tattoo? I was trying to see
I
it.
didn't even.
I thought it was funny. It looked like bike shoes she wears. They're really clunky, and they look like the clip-in bike shoes.
It is her left. It appeared to be her left foot outside below her ankle.
It's possible. I mean, I would have to look at photos to see from that day if I have photos from her. I'm sure I do, but I don't know that I would have gotten anything that close to her ankle specifically. But
Googled.
when she took her shoes off, I had to take, I would follow her around set and make sure that her shoes got back on her. Like from the moment they called cut to the moment that they would shoot again, I would be at her start mark and I would be at her end mark, so that I could get her shoes so she can walk back.
Yeah.
Sorry, something's going on.
What is going on?
It was just some random person.
Someone's audio is very.
I made a judgment call bringing somebody up, not realizing that it's just a joker.
Oh, that was pornographic.
I have a piece of trivia.
Go ahead.
They wind up mentioning when Lane goes to Sophie with the record. It's she's wrote a song in the background. The song Pleasant Valley Sunday is playing, which she did indeed write for the Monkees.
Thanks for sharing.
That was definitely a fun scene with Zach. But the funny thing is, they make it look like in that record shop was so small. They make it look like she's taking her through this like huge space where you wouldn't see or hear Zach playing, and in fact, it's probably like 3 feet away, and she would have seen him from the front door if she walked in that door. You remember how small? I mean, not 3 feet away, but maybe it was 9 feet away. She would totally have seen him playing in that little area.
Well, she is completely drunk on the punch.
Well, no, I mean, she would have seen him. It's a small space. It's a totally small space. But really cool. Any other questions you guys have for me before I pop out?
No, but thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
You are awesome, Valerie. Thank you for
Thank you so much, Valerie.
Morning with
Thank
us.
you, Valerie.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll
You're
talk
amazing.
later. Okay.
Come back.
What are the next
Well,
things?
we're closing in on the end of season 5. The only episode that I know I'm in is the final episode, Come Home. And I really don't know what's coming up. My
I don't
hope
even remember.
my hope is at the very least I get one episode with Mitchum Huntsberger.
One can dream.
Where you're in the same episode as, or that you get to see him?
I get to see him. I've heard about this guy, and I'm dying to meet him.
Oh, interesting. It's weird that you haven't met him yet, or that you never met him in real life either.
No, I mean I haven't met him well. I feel like I might have met him once through a mutual friend, but I was never on set while he was on set, but I'm just dying to meet the character because we've heard about him, and I get a sense that he might be an interesting counterbalance to the Logan character, and I'm like wanting to see that.
When we do get to the episodes with more family members, I am friends with another family member of Logan's, and she was actually at FanFest, but I'm sure we can talk her into.
Let's bring her into the family.
Oh yeah, I think she would love it. She's really sweet, and you'd like her a lot. and she would be a good addition. I just don't know what her work schedule is and how that's going to work out with your timing on your episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we can chat. I mean, depending on how much, I can always like, you know, shift things around just a little bit in order to make somebody's schedule work. Like if, you know, like
yeah,
do it a
I'll try to get
do
you
it a
guys
little
to
earlier
touch.
in the evening, or if it's a weekend, do it a little bit later. So why don't we reach out to her and see if she would want to come join us?
Oh yeah,
I also need to I need to get Eris on the line and get him in here.
Yes,
I
I
like
love
we're
this.
starting to have more Caesar episodes. They're starting to feel a little bit bigger, more significant, and I want to bring him in before
what's his
we.
most, guys? What do you guys know off the top of your head?
Harvest.
What the most important Caesar episode number is?
Harvest your kernels,
I
just so
wound
you
up
know.
giving
I did mine.
John 2 episodes.
Yeah, I actually have been sent a list by a few people. I know what he has coming up. I just need to get him on the line and see what his schedule is. That's it.
Yeah.
But he's definitely somebody that will be very fun to watch with, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. He'll be.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Great. He's absolutely awesome.
All right. Well.
Okay, we'll talk to you guys
Again.
later. Have fun. And,
Thanks, Val.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye, Valerie.
Bye. Thanks
Bye,
for coming.
Valerie.
And hey John, I think you were mentioning about like the tattoo. I don't know if you like saw it in an episode or did you not?
I didn't. Like somebody mentioned it, and then I was like,
yeah, yo,
trying
I mentioned that during the episode. So basically, when she's walking, like, I guess if you're looking at the screen, she'll be walking to the left. It's on the inside of what would be her right ankle. It's like a tiny little thing. You probably, if you rewatch it, knowing that, you'll be able to see it probably.
She has one on her ankle and one on the side of her foot, actually.
Oh wow, really? I only noticed the ankle one. Oh boy.
To be fair, it
And I
could be a
noticed the
newer
side of the
tattoo,
foot.
but I wanted to know if she did in fact have a tattoo.
To be fair.
Too
So,
bad
John.
Shelly wasn't still here because she and Liza were very, very close for many years.
So, John, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
When Remarkist begins to take off like really big, we should do a diorama filled with mannequins and Taylor Dosey narration to explain the founding of Remarkist.
And I love Jesus.
Live in
It's
person,
Cheez-Its.
or some sort of in-app version of it.
Absolutely not Cheez-Its.
I think either way would be glorious.
I'm with you. I can do it.
I support this.
I like the in-app
I mean, I hate Cheez-Its, but that's what I heard so long.
It's okay.
Wait, did somebody say they hate Cheez-Its? I mean,
That's
I don't like
how
them
can you
either.
hate
Yes,
Cheez-Its?
Huh?
I don't
I don't
like
hate
Cheez-Its
Cheez-Its.
either.
How
I
can
don't
you
like
hate
Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its?
I just know
Cheez-Its
it's
are
I
Jesus.
amazing.
can't
They're
eat them, but I
great.
still remember that I like them.
No, I don't know. They're just, I don't like the taste of them for
This
some
is
reason.
just
I don't
another
like them
time.
either. I feel like they have an aftertaste.
Yeah, no kidding. They have an aftertaste that's delicious that stays with you for hours.
I'm gonna have to agree with John on this one because most food have an aftertaste. You know, like if you eat something spicy, there will be an aftertaste spicy.
Cardboard sort of like very artificial cheese flavored aftertaste. I don't know.
Oh, like real American cheese.
Literally, as you guys were talking just now, I got a message from New York Times that said, "Find God with social media." Like,
New York Times is really on there, and I love Jesus.
they're listening to us.
I'm telling you.
So what else should we chat about from this episode? I mean, I feel like the episode was very centered on just like two big things. Well, no, let's talk about the article.
Oh
I thought we did.
There's
Did
a
we?
lot coming up with that article, though. So.
I thought that it was interesting.
We did not talk about the
I
article.
thought it was interesting. I love when the show makes parallels to things that happen in past episodes, like the Rory crying, Dean crying drunk, Dean crying drunk. I thought that a similar parallel here with like the with the article being written about Emily and like that article that Rory wrote, and how we spent a lot of time talking about like like you don't like Rory got that from mom, but her mom would never go that extra step to like, you know, make that. It's always behind people's backs. You know, she'd never actually that step to like, you know, make it public.
So do you think she should have let the article get written, or do you think it was better that she didn't have
I
it
think it was better if she didn't.
published?
Yeah, it was better that she.
Man,
I think
What?
Lily.
Lily, heartless.
I just think it
I'm
was
serious. I'm just saying, would have been hilarious, and Emily would have tasted her own medicine. Have this in the paper, so you know, publish it. I don't care.
I think that
Let it all out.
Jennifer, did you want to say
publishing,
something?
like comparing it to, sorry, carry on.
Oh no, go ahead, Megan.
I was just gonna say, I think it's like a step too far, like comparing it to dictators and stuff, and publishing it like so that people can read it like all over, in comparison to like humiliating her privately.
I also think like Emily, you know, if we want to look at her words, just to build off of like Megan's point, because I've been waiting for this one.
I've been waiting.
Emily doesn't like really quote unquote like say anything malicious about Lorelai in a public setting like that, right? She would never do that to her own daughter. And so with Lorelai, what always irked me about this is that, you know, she's all quirky, she's all fun, she's comparing her mother to war criminals like Mussolini and Stalin, and she thinks it's all ha 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 he he he.